Mike. How you doing?
Good. So, how do I look? I got these bags under my eyes. I can't get my light right. But,
It's the fill, man. It's the fill.
maybe that. No, that's even worse.
Look, I've been making movies for a long time, and I still can't figure out how to fix that shit. So, like, no judgment.
Yeah, I've done a little. I was gonna ask. I wanted to ask this one first because then it makes logical sense. Now it's gonna feel weird. But Michael, when you were going to meet another Michael, did you feel net positive about the fact that you're interviewing another Michael, or net negative?
I would say net positive. Like, I'm not a big enough Highlander fan to be like, there can only be one. Because then I'd be fighting people all the time. Like, that would be a never-ending stream of fights. So, like, why would that bother me?
I feel like I feel generationally different about different Michaels. Like, they don't name the same sort of cat Michael as they used to, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael's alive, after the Korean War. Those are some pretty, rugged Michaels. Most Michaels I meet, most Michaels ain't worth a shit. Right? Like,
I don't know, it's a weird thing for me because, as Elijah Schlesinger likes to say, like, I'm an older millennial, so I'm right on that cusp between sort of the rugged dude that you're talking about. Like, I've got one foot on that side, and then the other side that's like, yeah, I like avocado toast. So I'm like squarely in the middle of the two.
So what do you think the rugged names are now, right? Like, there's got to be somebody naming their kids something masculine now. Like
the Mountain, like anything from Game of Thrones would be
a
place to start.
Yeah, there are probably some hippie parents that are into, like, outdoorsy shit, right? And, some kids right now living in the woods, eating nothing but granola, getting buff off just, the Earth Mother.
Oh, man. That's, it's so funny. Like, I have a friend who, and I like him, he's a nice guy. I should say acquaintance. Friend is too strong a word. I have an acquaintance, somebody I went to college with. Super nice guy. But he never shuts the fuck up about being vegan. And I'm like, you are the worst possible spokesman for your cause, because I love animals, but you're obnoxious as hell. And it's like, it's not a game. It's it's at best a lateral move. Like, if you stop talking, you might actually do more for your cause. I'm just saying.
I like those vegans that like to that just try on veganism for like a month or at a time, so you can just eat Oreos and shit.
My whole thing with the animals is, like, I'm very pro animal. Like, I have, like, literally saved, like, spiders and raccoons and other shit, but I have neighbors who, if their house was on fire, I wouldn't spit to, like, put it out. Like, so I'm very, very pro animal, way more so than people. But I feel like the marketing for, like, PETA and all that stuff is done so wrong. Like, I was talking with my girlfriend about this over the weekend, and I was like, Sarah McLachlan has the worst publicist ever. Whoever said her, because now when I think of her, I don't think of, like, nice, friendly music. I think of dogs freezing to death. And I'm just like, you have it's the worst connotation ever. My dream is to direct a PETA commercial where it's just like a meet cute, and it's a guy and a girl in a park, and you find out that, like, the guy just adopted the dog, and the guy and the girl just kind of like, and they just walk off, and they're gonna bone, and it's just like, adopt a dog. Like, that's it. Like, make people think of happy things.
I wonder if you just made that commercial anyways,
right?
And just put it out there. Like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna say, like, they're not gonna say it's not us at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're
like Al Qaeda that way.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you want people to think happy things with animals and you want to promote, like, more animal-friendly lifestyles, make them laugh. Make them think they're going to get laid. Make them feel warm and cuddly about it. Do not make them feel sad and depressed and hungry. None of that's going to work.
Man, I'd adopt so many dogs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and this doesn't take a marketing genius to figure out either. Like, so it's so weird to me that nobody has figured that out yet.
Just think about what that would look like if you took like human evolution 1,000 years into the future. Like, all dogs will have evolved, to move almost like the speed of light. because dudes wouldn't be able to get laid unless they caught
The
dogs,
dogs,
right?
yeah, yeah. No, it's
The
just.
last,
Oh, go ahead, finish your thought. I want to cut you off.
I'm gonna say the last dog on the planet like moves faster than 3 cheetahs.
Yeah, no, now in my head I'm thinking about how Snoopy makes that work for him, and there's just so many things you can do with that.
Ah.
There's at least a good 2-3 seasons of that Snoopy Apple cartoon they could do just on that. So yeah, it's so wild to me that like nobody's figured that out yet. And I say this wearing like an Orlando movie shirt. Like and Kevin Smith has gone like fully vegan, right? But he's not obnoxious about it. Like I think he's a good spokesman because he doesn't make you feel bad about it. He's just like, here's why I did it. Here's why it works for me. He frames it as a personal choice, not this thing that like you're a cow hating Nazi if you don't do. Like I think
Okay,
there's really something to be said there.
let's talk a little shit. Let's talk a little shit.
Sure.
Let's make up like false rumors. I don't know, but like I wonder what, because Kevin Smith isn't a dick about anything that I've seen ever.
No, Kevin Smith
No.
is literally the reason that I got into comedy and make movies. Like, when I say that man is my fucking hero, that dude's my hero.
Same, 100% the same. You know, I'm like your Canadian equivalent.
Okay, right on. I was gonna say you have an accent, but I wasn't sure what it was, and I was gonna say Canadian, but then I was like, if I'm wrong, I'm a dick. And there's nothing as an American that's seriously worse than being a dick to Canadians because we know what kind of neighbors we are. So like, it's one of those things where I desperately am like, I want to be nice. Like one of my best friends in the world is Canadian, and it's like I want to be nice to you guys because I know what we've put you through. I know that we're the frat house, and I'm sorry that like we're that group.
No, as far as I'm concerned, America's the fun uncle.
Oh,
every once in a while you get to go hang out with.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, no, I could totally appreciate. I was in Vancouver. What was it? 20? Like I have no sense of time anymore now. I think like 2019 for that friend's wedding, and it was really funny to me because like small but very subtle differences. And for us, like we went and tried. Tofino. We went to Tofino. We were in BC and we were on Tofino and some other stuff. It was beautiful. All of it's beautiful. But at one point we were hungry because we were basically a band, right? Like we were in a van. We would get an Airbnb, then we had to move to another Airbnb because, of course, my friend couldn't have his wedding in the city. He had to be an asshole and have it out in the middle of the ocean, as far away from humanity as possible.
Come on. You get outside of Vancouver, and that's some of the most beautiful land you ever saw.
No, it really is. And as a Floridian, like as there's no diversity of topography here. No, I totally appreciated that. But at one point we were driving along and we passed a McDonald's and like we all stopped. There's like 5 of us. And 80% of it was like, we're hungry. But the other 20% was like, what is Canadian McDonald's like? We treated it like a little science experiment. We're like, how is this going to work? You guys have figured out how to make McDonald's clean. Like even your McDonald's isn't greasy. It was amazing. I was like, they have figured out everything here. Their junk food is clean. These people are magic. And I don't know how they do it.
You know what? Like, so there's a certain baseline banality to it, though. Like, I imagine. Well, this is how I feel about going to America because I like things that are a little bit greasy and loose.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I can see that.
Yeah, you buy fireworks here in a gas station. Fuck off. And then you turn around and you go, you got guns too?
Yeah. Here's my thing: is like when I was in Canada, it was just really nice to not walk around and always have in the back of my head as an adult man who's 5'5" that every time I leave my house, like I might have to fight someone. Like everyone was so relaxed in Canada, whereas in America, you're always kind of like, is this gonna go sideways? Like,
oh, did you go to Canada after the pot law was changed?
I don't know. Yeah, we must have because by the time we got there, it was legal. It was.
It's a different Canada now, man. It's like, oh my god! Even in the military, they're allowed to smoke weed.
See, we need that here. We so need that here because America's extra as it is, and then Florida, like, oh my god, we are 90 miles and 2 rum punches away from being a banana republic at any time. So, like, you know, is it as bad as you've heard? No. Is it still fucking wild? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, it's even like if somebody cuts you off in traffic, like when I'm with my girlfriend, I'm always looking out the window, like, is this guy going to flick us off? Like, is it going to turn into a fight? Because you never know. You never know what wild shit you're going to get into here. So I feel like as a country, especially after 4 years of Donald Trump, we all need that. We all need free therapy and we all need free weed. I would advocate zealously for both of those.
Well, you saw how New York just like one day they flipped the switch. They just said, "Hey, guess what, everybody? It's been a long winter.
Yeah.
Y'all get some free weed."
Well, the other thing too is that on some look, my uncle, one of my maternal uncles was NYPD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he retired as a detective sergeant, I want to say, after like 25 years. He wasn't like the main guy in his station house, but he was like one of the higher ups there. And like, I know, and granted, he mostly investigated murders and stuff, but I can tell you, like, from having friends that are cops and family that are cops, they don't care about weed. They don't give a shit. There are so many other things they want to be dealing with that they actually think are worth their time. Like, they don't care about weed. It's a waste of police resources to be dealing with that.
I think busy cops don't care about weed. I
Yeah.
think like little jerkwater cops in little towns that
Yeah,
they
because
got
they have
nothing.
nothing else the fuck to do. But
Yeah,
actual cops that are solving real crimes who are worth the taxpayer money, they don't care. The problem is, like, with Florida, unfortunately, like, a lot of the crime that you get here, like, when you see crazy Florida man stories, that's like 10% of it. It really,
Yeah.
it's actually very a small part of it. The problem is, like, 90% of it is people doing crazy shit because they're high. And it's the 10% that you see of the craziness is that it's people because they're high, and then the other 90%, most of it is like small petty crime because of drugs. So it's just like,
Right.
we have a problem with that shit here. So I
Yeah.
think if it's something that they legalize, it could free up the cops to do like actual police work.
Do you ever fuck with that speedy shit?
No, no. I used to drink like a fish, but no, and not because I have like some sort of moral stance against it. It's because I work out, like I'm pretty active, and so I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive to do like an hour of P90X or something, and then be like, fuck up my lungs for an hour. Like,
right. Yeah,
I would eat it, but and it was funny because we were gonna do that, my buddy and I. We were like, when we go to Canada, it's legal there. We can't get in trouble. And we didn't.
I was talking about.
We didn't.
I was talking about like Florida meth shit. No, weed.
No.
Oh yeah, weed.
No.
Smoking a little weed wouldn't mess you up.
Yeah,
actually, smoking a little weed would be good for you.
Fuck no. Because Breaking Bad does not do justice what happens to your teeth, and I work in show business, and I'd like to continue to work. So like.
At this point, I don't know if my teeth like add or subtract from the roles I can land. Like I got this thing, right? And it's like when caricature artists draw me, they always make like a fucking big deal out of the gap, right? So
it looks like I have the Canyon, and you're like, I can fit myself in there.
Yeah, like I gotta keep it at this point, but like I don't know if that's helping me at all. No one's going, hey, we need to get.
I don't necessarily think it would detract, because here's the thing about acting: 90% of actors are character actors. Really, you are. There are 10% of actors who are good enough to be like, I'm a leading man because I look fucking awesome every day, and I'm Chris Hemsworth. Like the
what's your character?
Of us, they don't care. Like, you're a character actor. You can eat what you want. You can look however you want. As long as you can show up, say your lines, and, be on your way, you'll be fine. So I don't really think, like, as a director, I would never look at somebody's teeth unless they were missing and be like, no, I'm not casting you for a part.
Michael LiCastri,
yes.
What's your typecast?
I mean, I'm sure this is going to be a stretch, not going to be a stretch to imagine, but the short, fast-talking friend, the lovable con artist type. I like to think of myself as a slowed down version of John, like the Italian John Leguizamo. That's what I like.
Okay.
I'm not quite as cracked out, but but no. Normally the fast talking friend, and even if I write myself as a lead in something, I'm still like the lovable, fast talking. Like, he means well, but he's kind of a dick. So. Randall from Clerks.
I would cast you as like an early years Joe Pesci henchman.
I would love that. Joe. Oh man, Yeah,
Yeah,
like the great thing
like
about
younger years, like out of high school, like
yeah,
before he did his first,
yeah, the great thing about Joe Pesci is that the best Joe Pesci stories are not necessarily the movies he's done; it's the shit he's done offset. Like I remember he was vacationing in Florida a couple years ago, and true story, some guy came up to him and wanted a picture, and Joe Pesci was like, "Nah, dog," and the guy took the picture anyway, and Joe Pesci fucking smacked him in the head. And I was like, I know that happened. Like in my heart, I wasn't there, but I know this to be true.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to my Kevin Smith question because I
Okay.
didn't get a chance to. I forgot to ask it.
Okay.
What do you think Kevin Smith's a dick about?
Um. Okay.
He's got to be a dick about something because
Okay.
we
So
all
I
are.
I will tell you the one and only story, and it's not even his fault, as you'll see. So a couple years ago, he came to Tampa. And he was at the Improv, and he was doing like a Q&A session. And I've been wanting to talk to Lunchbox for years, right? For years and years. Because, like, I first found out about him when I was like 15, 16. I'm in my early 30s now. So I've been
Yeah,
on that train for a long time. And finally, he came to Tampa. I think it was like his first or second time being here. I was like, fuck yeah, I can go. Um, so my buddy and I, we went out there. It was the late show, right? It was the second one. So I was like, if it fucking kills me, I'm asking him like advice. Because like if somebody's gonna tell me what the best way to direct my career is, it's gonna be this guy, right?
yeah.
So finally they bring the mic over to my table, and the thing is when they do these Q&As at the comedy clubs, they kind of just randomly hand the mic off to somebody at the table, but only one person at the table gets to ask a question, right? So it's me,
Right.
one of my really good friends, and then there's this couple across from me, right? And on my left is this guy, and he's okay. On the right across from me is his girlfriend. Now his girlfriend is fucking blitzed out of her mind. I don't mean she's a little white girl drunk. I mean this bitch is about to fall over and do tumbleweeds out of the club at any second. And I'm like, oh no, this can't be good. Because of course the idiot who's doing the mic that night gives her the mic. And I don't know whether he was
Oh,
trying to be funny, being like, let's see what happens when Kevin has to deal with the drunk bitch, or like he didn't know she was drunk. But you think the fact that she looked like she had fake glass eyes would have been an indication. But he gives this woman the mic, and she proceeds to sloppily start asking questions and be like, I love you. Tell me about George Carlin. And I'm like,
uh,
bitch, I love George Carlin too, but he's not the headliner tonight. Why are we having these questions? And she's so drunk and so emotional that Kevin has to come down off stage and hug her and calm her down just so that he can continue taking questions. And I just look at her boyfriend with like just the angriest eyes, being like, you crushed my 15-year dream, bro. Fuck you. Fuck. I hate everything you and your girlfriend choose to be right now. So like it wasn't even that Kevin was a dick. It was just like it was fucked up that I didn't get to ask my question. That's the closest thing. Like even when he tells people like, "Oh, I won't read your script," like if you've spent any amount of time working in this industry, you know that legally that's the way it is. They can't read your
yeah.
script. So no, I mean I've legit never seen him like he's never done anything personally or that I've heard about secondhand that have been like, "Oh, that dude's a douche." And I say this like I have some comedy heroes that have fucked up. I know you're not supposed to say either of these guys' names because your head will explode, but like Woody Allen and Louis C.K. are comedy geniuses. They've done terrible things, but as comedians, they're brilliant. Like,
I gotta plant a flag, and this is just. I can understand how people think that Woody Allen is like universally funny.
mhm.
He has just never made me laugh ever once.
No, here's the thing. That's okay, and he's very much either he makes you laugh or he doesn't. But like, there are so many people who are indebted to his style and don't even know it. Like
Yeah, like
me,
Richard Katz,
huh?
right? Like Richard Katz.
I mean, so many, so, like literally, he is the grandfather of dialogue-driven comedies. Like you can draw a straight line from Woody Allen to John Hughes to Kevin Smith to me and other people like me that do dialogue-driven comedies. There's a straight, very easy to follow line. Woody Allen really was the first guy to be like, I just want to make a movie where people talk, and that's the whole fucking movie. Like nobody had
So
ever really, really done that before in a modern way, the way he had.
so what do we do? What do we do with his art then?
I mean,
There was like so much kid fucking involved,
yeah, no,
right?
unfortunately, I feel like the only thing you can do is like watch the movies, enjoy them, and then take a little time to educate yourself afterwards and then be like, oh, this is a bad dude, but he made some great work. And also, let me be clear just to back up and clarify, I don't condone what Louis C.K. did. I'm not going to put it on the same level as Woody. Like, to
Yeah.
me, what Woody did was far, far worse, and I just feel like I need to state that. Like, there are tiers to this shit, and I think people forget that sometimes. Not all crimes are created equal. Yes, what Louis did was bad. Yes, what Woody is accused of, and unfortunately, it seems kind of likely that he did, is far worse. So let's just put that out there.
So I have a hard time with Louis C.K. and the definition of what he did. Like
It's
I
very
see,
messy.
I
It's very
well, I
messy.
see I see when you look through it today's lens,
Yeah.
it looks one way, but when it happened, when I look through that lens, I go, well, it was there has to be a path. Like he is must have paid whatever penance at this point, right? Like
Yeah, I the thing about it to me is that I don't think he was intending to be malicious. I think he was a weird dude who has like he's a weird dude who has a weird kink, right? I don't think he
yeah,
was like and it, unfortunately the really shitty thing about that whole story when it broke was that it happened around the same time as the Harvey Weinstein thing and people
yeah,
kept lumping the two of them in together. And Harvey was a criminal, like a legit criminal who was hiring like ex spies to harass people. Like
yeah.
Louis had a fetish, right? They're not the same thing. And while like I don't condone the activity and I feel bad for the people that it happened to, ultimately I don't think he was trying to hurt people, to scar them psychologically. I don't think that was the
No,
intent. I think it was a weird kind of kink or sex game, call it what you will, where where there were two parties and there was miscommunication between them about what was going to happen. That's what I honestly think happened. I don't think he kind of set out to scar anybody emotionally. I don't think
is
that's the
there
goal.
okay? Here's a question.
Oh
Is there anything in your past that you're scared of?
no, not like that. Because here's the thing: is like I've made controversial jokes before.
Yeah,
I've you know, and here's the thing: is I'll defend every one of them because I know they weren't coming from a hateful place, and I can line up enough people to scare a fucking lawyer that would testify like, no, Mike's a good dude, and there was no. Like, I have no problem making jokes that upset people sometimes because I feel like as being a comedian, that's part of the territory. But like stuff like that, no. Like,
like I know like in the past I've used words that are just like I'd be horrified if I heard myself say them today,
yeah,
right?
but I mean, I think we've all done that though. I think we've
Y-
all done that. And the thing is, like, I
yeah,
don't think it's worth beating yourself up. The other thing too is that it's particularly annoying when people want to go back and judge comedians for jokes that they've made, especially
yeah.
here in the States, where it's like, guys, let's take a step back and remember we elected a guy who said grab him by the pussy. Okay. So I don't
Oh,
ever want to hear anybody bitch about things that a comedian has said because we're not even willing to hold the president to the same kind of standard that we are stand-up comedians. I don't care what any comedian says on stage. I don't. There's not a single joke you can make where I'd be like, that's too far for me. Like, that's the job. That is literally what you're paying that person to do. So, like, do your homework. Especially if you're going to see somebody like a Daniel Tosh or an Anthony Jeselnik or somebody who, like, that's their whole act. That's their
right.
whole act, guys. So you know, do your homework and check. You know that's the same thing when like people bring small children to an R-rated movie and then they want to bitch about it later. Like fuck you, it said rated R. Like you didn't do your homework. And I refuse to not be able to see something I like because you're a shitty parent. Sorry. So like, you know, just be an adult, man. Do your homework and kind of figure out because not all things are not for all people. Like, my mom loves King of Queens. I hate Kevin James. I think if you were to Google white mediocrity, his picture should come up. Kevin James.
Holy shit!
No, dude, he's one of the least funny people on the planet. I don't know how he's gotten that far. Like, Paul Blart made so much money, and it makes me want to die inside. I don't know, like, I don't get it.
I like how you're spitting this fire. That's real true. Like,
yeah,
Kevin James is a connected cat.
It needs to be said. And look, if I really take off and somebody digs this up 10 years later, A, I made a lot of really good jokes so far, and I feel very happy with this interview. But B, like, I stand by it. He's not funny. He's not funny to me. And I think there are a lot of other comedians who feel the same way. Especially there are people who should have broken out and who haven't.
Shia LaBeouf is, to me, one of the greatest actors of his generation.
Yeah, but he's a dickhead as a human. He's a bad person. Like a legitimately bad person. Because he didn't do
I think he's a tortured person. I think he's a tortured person.
Okay, he definitely is, and I will give you that. The thing that frustrates me about him is that, unlike a lot of people, he has the resources to get treatment and seems to have chosen not to do that. This was what pissed me off about Meghan Markle, by the way. It was the same thing. I felt very bad for what happened to her, like, as a person, as a human to human. But my sympathy kind of stopped short because I was like, do you know how many friends I had that are women of color that struggle with the same issues, that just can't leave their jobs, that just can't move away to another country? Like, for me, it was almost like John Gotti's wife. Like, you married into the mob, and then you got mad when you found out they kill people. Like, your husband doesn't really work in sanitation, okay? You knew the family you were marrying into when you started this game. Like,
speaking of mediocrity, she really grabbed the most brassest of rings, didn't she?
Here's the thing: before all this, I don't think most people knew who she was because she was on a show that nobody watched. I don't understand how it lasted that long. There used to be a time, by the way, when USA made really dope shows. Burn Notice was great. White Collar was great. And then at some point, they were like Suits and Chris Lee Knows Best, and I was like, I'm out. Like, I miss you guys. I miss what you used to run. And once they got rid of like Treadstone and The Purge, and there was even a show called Dare Me that was really good. And then they got rid of all of them. And I was like, nah, man, like we're done. So I've seen all the SVU reruns. Like, we're good. Like, give me a reason to come back, and I'll come back. But yeah, it's very frustrating when people who have money and have resources behave badly. And yes, I understand we've all got a complicated past, but like, you have money to get therapy and other things that, like, the average person doesn't have. So you can't really say, oh, somebody's tortured, because they can work towards being untortured in a way that other people who have those demons cannot. So,
oh yeah, I agree, dude. I agree with you. I think he's a bad guy. I'm just saying,
because he is very talented.
People put like Jared Leto in the same box, and I'm like, I've never seen Jared Leto pull off anything I give a shit about.
Jared Leto is a weird dude who, like, in another life was like got kicked out of the polyphonic spree or something. But like, he's not a criminal.
He's an unspoken victim of the Me Too movement. I think he sucked a dick.
He's a rich hippie. That's all he's a rich hippie. Like, I remember what was crazy to me was when COVID first started, he was at like some retreat where like you don't talk for like a month. And then he came back and found out COVID was happening, and he was like, what the fuck? Like, he learned this a month late because of being away. And I was like, you have money when you can pay to sit in a room for a month and not talk to anyone. Like, that's,
What celebrity would you like to hang out with the most?
I'd love to hang out with Kevin, obviously. Patton Oswalt is a dude that I have a lot of love for, which I know is ironic because I just kind of came for King of Queens pretty hard. But Patton is wonderful. Hideo Kojima, who did the Metal Gear Solid games, which I know is funny because I know for a fact I saw David Hayter speak at a Comic-Con. Apparently Hideo's English is not super great. So, like, it would be fun for both of us. But and anybody from Kids in the Hall, we didn't get to talk about this. I love Kids in the Hall so much. They're
Dude,
wonderful.
Brain Candy was released 25 years ago today.
I know. One of my favorite things that I ever got to do was I took said Canadian friend and another friend of ours that we went to high school with, and I took them to see Kids in the Hall at Ruth Eckerd Hall. They came. And it was one of my favorite live comedy shows that I've ever been to. I actually have a Girl Drink Drunk shirt, which I can no longer fit into. But no, I own all their stuff on DVD. One of my great missed opportunities is that Dave Foley came here and I didn't get to see him do stand up. I love those guys so much.
Who's your favorite character?
Huh?
Who's your favorite character?
I'm not gonna say Mr. Tyzik because that's the one that everybody says. I really like Dave Foley's polite axe murderer. I like Dave Foley as Kevin McDonald's shitty dad during Dad Drank. The chicken lady's pretty funny. The chicken lady can be pretty funny. And I do like Mr. Tyzik. I just kind of feel like that's like being a Death Cab for Cutie fan. And somebody's like, what's your favorite Death Cab song? And you're like, I'll follow you into the dark. No, bitch, there are so many other ones.
My absolute favorite is the one where Scott Thompson plays a young, straight, rural Canadian guy that got picked up by two gay guys, in downtown Toronto after a Leafs game, and he's just sort of trying to navigate with his awkward Canadianisms.
I think because I've seen the whole show, so I think I remember the sketch you're talking about.
Yeah, it's he nails it. He's just like, hey, yeah, I guess I could take my shirt off, eh?
What's
just
wild to me about those guys is that I don't think they get enough credit for being one of like the forerunners of positive gay representation. Like Buddy Cole is an OG gay icon. That is wild. They did that on TV in the 90s when people were still getting beat up for being gay and it was like cool. Like they were so ahead of the curve on that. And I don't feel like that gets brought up enough. Like they're not just funny. They are legitimate trailblazers in like socially progressive comedy. They really are.
Dude, when I was a kid growing up, my dad, my dad's friend was like a Ottawa police officer who worked on Parliament Hill. So it's like our White House.
Yeah.
Or our Congress. Yeah. So they would talk about how they would, on a slow night, beat up the fags.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
They would go find them in the bushes and we beat them up. It's a lot of fun. We like hit them with sticks. There's nothing they could do about it.
That's awful. That's absolutely
in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Like, and today, genderless babies are being born.
Yeah,
and I ain't even mad.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
This is the way it should be. But no, I don't think those guys got enough credit. I think every one of them is a comedy legend. I do kind of feel like if you're talking sketch groups, they're the only ones that really deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as Monty Python. And I love Mr. Show. Early SNL, Mad TV is great, but like the kids were themselves distinctly for 5 really great years in a way that only really Monty Python ever was.
If you like Kids in the Hall, there's even deeper references you can go to in Canadian sketchcom that never touched your shores. But like, there's this one called Codco, which is like the direct descendant of like Trailer Park Boys and Letterkenny.
I know. Okay, I know TPB. I know those.
Yeah, yeah. So like it's called Codco, and it's like East Coast Canadian humor is like another level of craziness.
Okay.
You owe it to yourself to look it up.
I'll have to check that out. I've never seen Letterkenny. I know
it's filmed right here.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Like I point out my window and you can see where it's being filmed.
See, I have a friend here in Florida who swears by that show. Loves it. But I've just never actually seen it. So
it does. Yeah. So I like Trailer Park Boys because like that reminds me of growing up. But like Letterkenny makes me feel like where I live now, and it's not that fun.
If you like Trailer Park Boys, I don't know if you got to watch my movie. If you got to check it out.
Dude, I had a little bone to pick, man. Like, you gotta talk to your production people, your distribution people.
Oh, because we're not in Canada Prime?
No, I
Okay.
went to rent it.
That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me at all, and it has nothing to do with them. They've been trying to get on Canada Prime for the longest, and it just hasn't
Oh,
happened
okay.
yet. So that's not on me. I'm actually gonna get a drink of water here because
Yeah, 100%. Oh, dude. Yeah, let's talk about filmmaking, man. Like, you got a feature. So I've been working on a feature. Oh, like I was a lead in a feature a
okay,
couple years ago, and I work with my cousin Jason and his friend Adrian. They own Fable Forest Films,
okay,
and we've had a horror feature that's been like, this is year 3. I hope Adrian's watching. Year 3, and like we're waiting on some post production stuff and some creature effects and stuff. It's been recut at once, but like I understand. I feel the pain of fucking getting something like this. Is the second feature I've worked on, third actually, and I understand the pain of getting it to just the completion
yeah.
status.
Let alone getting
How
it distributed.
how'd you get picked up? Talk to me about that. That must have felt like awesome.
Um, Basically, the short answer is I found a guy on Facebook who was working as a producer's rep. Um, and he made the deal happen at AFM. By the way, I do want to say that I do want to take just a quick minute here. Um, for anybody that's listening, if you've listened to the past 40 minutes of this or so and you're like, hey, this guy's funny, I do have a feature out called The Best Laid Plans. Um, it is available on Amazon Prime in certain countries, so you'll have to check your locality. If you cannot get it there, you can go on a place called Distro TV, and it is free to watch with ads. Um, so I thought I sent you that link, Mike.
No, I didn't see the Distro TV one, but you know what? I'm gonna watch it now.
Okay. So yeah, so you can check it out on Distro TV. I also have a stand-up comedy album out called ADD Hero, which you can check
That's
out
good.
on Bandcamp. If you're wondering if it's the right album, the cover photo is a picture of a small child drinking a beer. That photo is me, so you're fine. Wasn't actually any beer in it. But yeah, and it's about a half-hour comedy. It's only $6. So yeah, so that's the stuff I have out right now. I feel like I have to plug while I'm here. Uh,
No, it's good. I'm glad you got it all filled. I'll edit it out later. Don't worry about
Thanks, asshole.
it. No problem.
You had one job.
so, dude, so you found a guy on Facebook.
Yeah. And he was just like, if you've got a completed feature, send it along. Like, here's the real reason we got picked up. When we made the movie, I knew that the only way we were going to get Distro, it didn't matter how good the movie was. Truthfully, it doesn't. Sharknado's a
Yeah.
thing. Um, like,
No shit.
yeah, like the reason we got picked up is because Linnea Quigley and Edwin Neal were in it. That's why. Like,
Okay.
we had some B-level names, and those B-level names were enough for the distributor to be interested. So, if you're trying to make your first feature and you're like, how am I going to get this scene? Get a B-level actor, get them for a small part, shoot them for a day. Seriously, it is the most cost-effective way because yeah, so really the best thing you can do is to get yourself a B-level actor and shoot them in and out in a day. Seriously, because you can make the best movie ever, and if you don't have some sort of name in it, your chances of getting picked up are almost none. Like, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the film. That's the wild thing. It has nothing to do with the quality of the film. The first question that any distributor is going to ask is who is in it. Like, it's just the way it goes, unfortunately.
That makes a certain degree of sense, and we've done that to an extent. I don't know if we don't. I don't think we went B enough. I think we got like. I think we did it like a lower level C. Sean Ray, like he's in that last. He did like he played a character in one of the last Fallout games.
Okay.
He's an up and comer.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if he like got Brad Pitt famous, someone might like want to load it up on their back catalog.
Oh yeah, no, because I know distributors who have like there was a guy who picked up a horror movie that Daisy Ridley did, like before she broke out.
Right.
And then they were like, now we can use it. So yeah, that does happen.
So
Happen.
So talk to me a little bit about just the process of making it. Like was it your first time shooting a feature, or was it your
Yes.
first time? Okay, shit.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep. And
What'd
I
you
was
shoot?
crazy
Oh,
enough to
sorry.
star in the thing. I wrote it, I directed it, and I produced it. So
Uh, yeah. So I heard you're a pretty prolific screenwriter.
yeah, I am. I've written over a dozen features just on my own, and then I've done a number of writer for hire gigs for producers in LA and New York. So
One of our projects was picked up by Simon Barry. He wrote Deep Blue Sea with Samuel Jackson.
I love that movie. Such a
Yeah,
fun movie.
one of our projects got picked up, and then we did a series of rewrites, and then they optioned it, and then they passed it on it after a while. But I was really hoping I could have got that nut.
Nope, been there, done that, man. I had a project that was under consideration at Netflix for a little while, so
Can
and
you
now
talk
let's see
about it?
what's going on with it. So no, I mean the thing was they never officially passed. They were just like, "We'll
Mm,
get back to you," and I wasn't the one directly pitching it. The producer was. So
right.
yeah, nope. But been there, done that with the whole option bit, and
So what
yeah.
was your budget? What was your budget?
For plans for the feature I made,
Yeah, yeah.
12,500.
Shit.
Yep, yep.
Was it like donated donuts from craft services?
It was a lot of Hungry Howies and little. No, I'm sorry, Little Caesars. It was a lot of Little Caesars, is what it was.
Oh
Uh,
wow! And how many cameras on set?
one, one.
A single camera.
Yep,
Yeah.
one boom
We.
mic. Yeah, like as small as you think a movie could be, this movie is. Like, yeah.
I'll notice something in your trailer. I could pick up the ADR. Did you have to do that a lot?
Oh no. It only happened a couple times that we had to do that.
Yeah. 'Cause
Only a
that's
couple of times.
sound is like the biggest pain in the ass, the biggest pain in the dick. Oh,
Yeah, and that's why like when I found out we had to do it, I was like, shit. But I also knew like we needed to take it seriously because like bad
right.
sound will throw your whole movie.
100%. You ever watch the Radioland Murders?
I have not, but I know what it is.
It's Brian Ben. It was a Lucasfilm joint.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it, but I know what it is.
The voice syncing is so bad, and I feel like he was trying to shoot for an aesthetic and just missed. It's almost unwatchable.
Wow.
Except it's got Brian Ben. You know, that dude is an understated comedian, I think. I'm dating myself a little bit.
No, it's okay. I feel like we're in the same age range. I think you're slightly older than me, but not by much.
Oh, I bet you I'd shock you. Okay, make a guess.
I'm gonna say 36.
Oh boy, keep going.
40?
Oh, keep going.
45.
46 in
Wow.
May. Yeah,
Wow. Okay, I'm 32, so no, there is a considerable gap between
yeah. The chubbiness just pushes the wrinkles out from the inside.
us.
But I know how making a movie can age you. What's your next one? Oh,
Huh?
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean it. Here's the thing: is that I had made a number of short films where I did all of those things beforehand. I made like
Yeah,
10 of them. So by the time I made the feature, I was like, I'm ready.
right.
Like I had an idea of what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it. So
Did did you start planning right away on your next project? Do you have a project right now in the works?
I do. I have another script that I would absolutely love to shoot. I need $15,000 to make it. So if somebody wants to give me that money. But yeah, I have another feature that I could absolutely shoot on a very low budget, one location, very minimal actors. So yeah, it's just a question of finding the funding.
How do you feel about YouTube as a platform for releasing your movies?
I would never put a full feature on there. I would
No,
never. Yeah, the problem with it is that the industry does not take it seriously. They view it as a form of self distribution, so it's like it didn't happen. and
Yeah.
it sucks, but they can do that. The other thing is there was a time and place where you could make a living off of YouTube, as far as the money goes. You can't anymore. They
No?
no, YouTube and Amazon Prime is just as bad. They pay pennies. You get like a penny per minute, 2 pennies per minute. So if you make a 75 to 80 minute movie, that's 80 cents for the whole movie stream once.
Shit, what the fuck am I doing here then?
Yeah, no, it's rough. What you're doing is hoping that somebody sees this thing and is like, "Oh, this guy's pretty funny. We should give him like a radio show or something." Like you're
Who
trying
knows?
to get repped. That's what you want.
I actually really like doing this. So I think that the future of media is going to change, and I think like the movie studio structure, I think it's going to be a more distributed model than the
I think it's
studio
going to
structure.
have to be. I think it's going to have to be because what's going to happen is I think there's going to be two major paradigm shifts. A being that I think the kind of indie dramas or mid-level movies, or like comedies, like even the stuff that I make, is not going to be theatrically released. I just
Yeah,
think it's we're gonna get to a point, I think, where you're only gonna see the big tentpole movies, action movies, and horror movies getting wide theater releases. And I think everything else is either going to be super limited theatrical or it's going to go straight to streaming. I just think that is the direction that we're heading. I think we're also going to see less of those films of anything that could be considered an adult drama
right.
or mid budget comedies are dying, and it kills me. It kills me that the exact stuff I want to make is the stuff that nobody's interested in cutting a check for right now. And as a creative and as a producer too, it's super frustrating.
Oh, what they made Sonic the Hedgehog into a movie?
Yes,
Like fuck,
the peeps are getting a fucking movie, as in like the marshmallow candy. Yeah,
unreal.
yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, please give me for the price of a used car, I can make a whole movie. And
You
I
know
know
what?
I can because I've done it. So
As much as I love Batman, I fucking love Batman.
yeah,
Right? I'm a
for
fat
Batman,
white dude. I love Batman. It's a rule,
yeah,
right? I could do with like one less Batman remake.
yeah. I mean, it's what's frustrating is that you look at a lot of the Netflix movies, like the smaller ones, or the stuff that gets put there, and the budget is 1 billion, 2 million, 3 million, which is not radical for the making of a movie. It's not radical. And then you look at the budget of the Avengers, the first one, and it's 200 million, and you're like, what the fuck? Where did all that money go to? And then you find out that Downey Jr. is getting 80 million of that 200 million.
Yeah. Well,
How does anybody afford to make things?
he did
Like,
nail that role though.
huh?
Like he
No,
played that role so well. He changed the comic.
yeah, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is great in it. I'm not detracting from his level of talent. What I am saying is that when one dude gets that much money for one movie, the studios have less money with which to pay money out to make smaller films.
True.
It does end up having a kind of harmful effect in the ecosystem in the long run for those of us who don't make those kind of movies.
Part of me likes the fact though that they exist, and I know I'm holding opposing views in my mind. Just the
You're an adult.
idea,
You're allowed to do that. That's a sign of intelligence. Like
yeah,
I wish more
just
people could do that.
the idea of like Johnny Depp, captaining his own fucking yacht through through the
Mhm.
Caribbean just tickles me. Off to my own island, doot doot doot.
Yep.
On his Jack Sparrow yacht.
Yep. With all the wine in the world, just a massive wine cellar.
He must be so much fun to hang out with.
If you get him on a good day,
Yeah, like, come on, you hang out with Johnny Depp, you got to be a cool cat afterwards.
yeah. I mean, I'm in all likelihood, I'm sure he's actually a nice dude.
Yeah,
Like I've heard lots of stories of just him both quietly and then kind of, largely like dressing up and going to like elementary schools and stuff. Like, yeah.
I feel Amber Heard did him dirty.
I'm glad you said it so that if I get a
Yeah,
manager, nobody can hit me over the head with that.
I
Yeah,
don't give a shit. I think she did him dirty. Like,
yeah. No, and I think there are a lot of people that feel that way. I will be very interested slash surprised to see if she gets to stick around for Aquaman 2. Because there are a lot of people on the internet that were like, if you keep her, we're out.
Well,
Like,
they kicked him out of the J.K. Rowling
yeah,
movie, right?
yep, and they ended his Jack Sparrow too.
Yeah,
Like,
that's harsh, right? For somebody who apparently didn't do nothing.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate over what happened, and unfortunately, like, the problem is the two people involved in the story. That the worst thing about it is that A, they're both very wealthy, and B, they both lie for a living. So,
Right.
like, the ability to kind of discern the truth, it's pretty much impossible here. We're the only two people that are ever going to know what happened in that fucking kitchen are Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And unfortunately, neither of them, is what we would call a reliable narrator. So, like,
That, true. Fair.
you know, that's the problem here. Um, do I think he's a saint? No. Do I
No.
definitely think he has some shit to answer for? Absolutely. Do I think that everything Amber Heard said happened the way that she said happened? Probably not. It's
Like,
unlikely.
yeah, he didn't go Mel Gibson. Like, do you remember? Do you
No.
remember? Do you remember hearing
Yeah, no,
that
no, no,
tape?
no.
I listened to that tape again, like not that long ago.
Why?
Holy shit! Just
Why
because
go?
I saw him in something, and I'm like, did everybody forget Mel Gibson? And I thought maybe I forgot Mel Gibson, and then I listened to the tape again, and I was like, holy shit!
Look,
Why
man,
is he
don't
still here?
ruin Martin Riggs for yourself. Okay? Like, Lethal Weapon is still great. Like, don't. I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think one of the perils of living in the modern age is, unfortunately, when it comes to art and artists, you get to see how the sausage is made. And sometimes that is really heartbreaking.
Fair.
Um, and I
But
can
we've been seeing that sausage for a long time though.
yeah, but it's more in depth now. It's
Yeah.
it's more in depth now. You're
Like
still like there are
Roman
people are
Polan- Roman
phone calls and
Polanski.
other things, like private conversations are being leaked in a way that they were not previously.
Sure,
And there's
sure.
something invasive about that. There's something very invasive about that to me that I'm not okay with. But ultimately, I'm at a point where like I can watch the art and still say that I think you're a bad person. Like
Yeah.
I think I think that's the adult thing to do. Because why would I want to deny myself something that brings me joy? Like there's so much shit in this world. So if something makes me happy, like why should I not be able to give myself some tiny morsel of fucking pleasure in the absolute Lovecraftian existence that we've all been shoved into, especially over the last year. So, like, take it
So
where you
you
can
just
get it.
said in order to have good art, sometimes you have to throw a child into the furnace, sort of thing.
What I'm saying is that if somebody else makes an album as good as Thriller, we can talk. Like,
Fair.
yeah. Um, I mean, and I joke, really, I am kidding, but like, no, I just, what I'm saying is, in all seriousness, I think the relationship between great art and emotionally troubled individuals is complicated. And I think that we can love the art but dislike the artist as a person, you know?
Sure.
So I'm a very lapsed Catholic, but they always used to say, hate the sin, love the sinner. And that's kind of, where I'm at. I can love the art and then dislike the person from a moral standpoint who made it. Roman Polanski has done some awful, terrible shit. Chinatown is one of the greatest detective movies ever made. Those two things are both true. They
It's
don't
true.
negate each other. Like,
It's
he's a
true.
terrible fucking human. That's still one of the greatest movies ever made. Like,
My one of my favorite it's one of my favorite pieces of like I don't know what's dis when it comes to left versus right politics. When you see someone like a Glenn Close make uh, she'll make a statement that's very left leaning, and I get it. I'm a left leaning person, but
mhm.
you'll see that
Me
one
too.
asshole that'll post that video of her clapping to Roman Polanski in like 4 years ago, and you're like, ouch. It's like there's a lot of people in Hollywood, good people
Yeah.
that let a lot of shit slide.
Yes. Yeah. And those people should there is a conversation to be had there about the cover that they've given people who are criminal. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's a very messy thing, and ultimately, like, People need to be held accountable for the shit that they do.
Sure.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily think it should ruin your ability to enjoy the art. Like R. Kelly, terrible fucking person. I Believe I Can Fly. If I hear that song, I'm singing the whole damn thing because it's one of the greatest songs ever made. Like,
It's true, dude. The push broom mustache is like one of the best mustaches ever, and Hitler had to fuck that up for everybody.
you know what's wild about that is the fact that like that it's not actually Hitler's. It's Charlie Chaplin's. Chaplin
Sure.
had it first, and then Hitler watched The Great Dictator, didn't seem to realize that he was the one being made fun of, and then co-opted the mustache. So if you feel that way, educate a motherfucker and tell them that it's not from Hitler, it's from Chaplin, and you're taking it back.
I
Like,
have a I have a theory Tom Hanks could bring it back.
man, if somebody was going to get away with it. But again, this comes down to not knowing your history. This is a problem we have. Learn your motherfucking history, man. Educate yourself. Because that's how people make stupid choices. That's when we rush into things, when we make bad decisions, it comes from a place of not being informed. Every time, every single time. So know your history. Because then you don't get on the internet and sound like an idiot. Like,
Here's a funny thought experiment. Imagine if you were to replace Donald Trump with somebody just a little bit like 10% more charismatic.
mhm.
You know, like a Tom Hanks. Like if you threw all everything that Donald Trump did in a Tom Hanks show,
Oh,
do
that
you
would be
think
so scary. That would be so. See, here's the sad, scary thing about Donald Trump is the fact that Donald Trump. We got lucky because we voted the right guy in this time around. But Donald Trump almost got away with destroying the entire experiment. He really did. He got very, very close.
sure?
And the only reason that he didn't is because he was too stupid to pull it off. So the next time that somebody comes around saying those things and knows not to say the quiet part out loud, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like,
It's
you
gonna
know,
be crazy. The next 4 years from now, it's gonna be nuts.
like somebody who has his ideas but can articulate them more carefully, it's
Yeah,
very scary. Like he was too dumb to realize his vision. Somebody else could easily come along and pick it up and just be a little more careful, and that would be it. Yeah.
we need to build the fucking walls. What we need to do.
Oh no,
It'll
God,
be made of,
where
it'll
am
be
I
made of
gonna
logs.
go? Where am I gonna go? Y'all better give me a work visa and let me come tell jokes at Yuck Yucks up there because where else am I gonna go?
Would you ever move to Canada?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't be rushing to, but like, if I had a good reason, sure. Like, here's the thing: I had a very good time up there. I don't like the fact that like BC taxes for beer, but apparently they're the only ones that do that. So as long as I go to a place that's not BC, like,
Oh, trust me, they all tax. They all tax everything.
yeah, like that was very weird to me. When like we went out to a restaurant, we got beers, and we were like, "What is this extra thing?" We asked the waitress. She was like, "Oh, there's like a beer tax here." It's like, what the hell? My buddy was like, "Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys that." We were like, so, um, but yeah, like I enjoyed it. We didn't get to spend too much time up there. I think we were only up there for like 4 or 5 days maybe. So I'd like to come back at some point, and actually go to like the East Coast, because that flight was brutal. So I'd like to go to like Toronto, somewhere like that, and kind of see that part of Canada.
See, I think Canada's the most boring country. Like we have some beautiful places, but
Uh
like
huh.
there's Toronto, there's like Vancouver, there's like the eastern part, there's Quebec if you want a little bit of French, but
Hmm.
it's all
Nah,
it's
I'm
not.
good because all the Canadians I talk to up there, they hate the people from Quebec. You guys hate
Oh,
Quebec so much. It's
I don't.
amazing.
So half my family's from Quebec, so I don't really hate. I identify like I have the blood, the
Uh
French blood in me.
huh. Okay.
So, but I grew up hating them.
Yeah, no, I know so many Canadians that were like, if they want to be their own fucking country, let them. We won't miss them. Like it was, it was very interesting to me. Because that's kind of how Texas is here, where it's like every couple
Yeah.
of years they're like, we're gonna be our own thing, and we're like, go ahead, like if that's what you want. Um,
Do you ever want to be part of that comedy migration to Austin?
um, no, As liberal as Austin is, I think Texas might be a little too weird for. See, I'm. It's very unusual for me. I don't really necessarily have a place that I feel super that I super identify with because I was born in and grew up in Florida, but my family is from New York. So I am a man without a country in a
You
lot of
feel like a New Yorker to me.
yeah. But here's the thing: is I'm not anywhere. I'm not country, right? I'm way too city to be country.
Sure.
But even the tiny part of me that is country is too much to be city. So I exist in this, weird kind of space where it's just like, I guess Florida fits, because it is the kind of merge of the two. But yeah, it's a super super weird thing because I've lived in New York. That's the thing is I've lived in New York, and if you don't have money, New York is really chaotic. If you don't have money, New York is really it's very difficult to make work. Not because it's a bad place, but because there are so many people that it becomes very difficult to get things done. Sometimes just because there's a mass of people, right? It just
Right.
takes a while to get the two places. And so because of that, it's just those little annoyances kind of add up. And
Do
so
you do you feel COVID kind of rewrote a bunch of rules though, and now once things get back to normal, people can start to reevaluate where they live and why they live there?
I definitely think that's going to happen. I thought for a second you were asking me if it was going to make people more polite, and I was going to be like, no, New Yorkers are still going to shit on the subway. There's always going to be that guy.
No,
But yeah,
I fall down these YouTube rabbit holes where people live like they get Western jobs like, and then they live in a place that's like real cheap, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and
Well, and
warm.
that
And
happens all the time. Like even where I am in Florida, like people are working remotely and they're working for companies that are in New York or LA or and getting paid that salary as if they live there. And then they live in Florida because their money goes farther. So yeah, I do think we're going to start to see a migration out of cities.
yeah,
It's interesting. I'm curious how it's going to affect my industry, um, because in theory I can write from anywhere, right? I can make a movie from anywhere, um, because I work in film. I don't do TV. So like
well,
if you do TV, you need to be in Los Angeles or New York.
are you a comedian first or are you a filmmaker first?
I would say a comedian. I'm a comedian who makes films. I can't tell you shit about lenses. I know how to direct a performance out of an actor that's funny.
Sure.
Like that's because here's the thing is I started in the theater and I still do theater. So I'm not interested in like the lenses and the shots. I'm like, does it look professional and are you saying the things that I wrote in a funny way? Am I
Right.
saying them in a funny way with you? Yes, then cool. I'm much more concerned with the comedy and the performances than I am with how things look. Because look, I'm not Terrence Malick. You don't go to a comedy and say, "Oh, look what pretty pictures." If you did that, I fucked up. I didn't do my job. Like,
Right.
you're supposed to be paying attention to the jokes. So that's my thought process on that.
Do you work any Joe job or you just do the comedy and the film?
I run my own business during I work as a marketing copywriter. So I do that too. Um, but yeah, I'm in that process where like I made a feature, I have a record out, I've made a bunch of short films, some of which have been nominated for awards, and now I'm just at that point where I'm trying to get repped. And
Right.
trying to get repped is the most difficult, complicated thing in the whole world. It really is.
I feel like the industry just has so many gatekeeping steps between you and money.
Yes, and most of them are real stupid. Like there are
Yep.
tons of bad scripts floating around, but I feel like if you've demonstrated you can do the work, and I feel like I've done that to the best of my ability, then you know, if a manager has stumbled upon this recording, please contact me. Get my info from Mike. I'd love to talk to you. Like, I have a
Seriously,
whole
like
portfolio I can send you.
yeah, I'm plugged into a group of filmmakers here in my city, and everybody is does these huge labors of love, right?
Yeah,
And the commercial success is just hard to find
no,
because there's
it really is. Especially if you're not doing something big and splashy. And I love watching those kind of movies, but I'm not interested in making them.
well,
I
it's
was raised on Clerks and The Breakfast Club,
the
and
weird the weird power dynamics and people you got to play nice with, and and give a nice handshake to, and
The worst. Carrie
yeah,
Fisher had a really great quote about that too, where she said that was one of the worst things about show business was that you had to endear yourself to people that you wouldn't spit on if they were on fire. I miss that woman, by the way.
and have no talent when it comes
Yeah.
to making art.
Oh yeah, the amount of times where I. So I'll tell you this. Every April, I actually got to get out of here soon, but I'll leave you with this.
Okay,
Every April, I like to do an exercise with myself. I call it my month of comedy, and I watch 28. So I watch 28 comedy specials because it's 28 days in a month. So I watch 28 comedy specials. The rule is I can't have seen them before, right? Got to be a minimum of 45 minutes long, and it has to be that they can't be from the same person, right? So it's 28 different specials from 28 different comics that I've never seen. I also have to write at least 28 jokes within the month. I think today is the 12th. I'm already at 15, so I'm ahead of schedule. Keep on trucking.
nice.
But
Don't steal any of mine.
no, wildly unprofessional.
I'm just kidding. You can have one.
But for me, it's been amazing because there have been several specials, some of them from comedians that I actually know and respect, where I'm like, how the fuck did this get put out? And some of them from people that just shouldn't have specials. Like, I've never heard of you. I wasn't super impressed by the hour you put out. Like, who at Comedy Dynamics thought this was a good idea? And it's gotten to the point where, like, if you have 1 million followers on TikTok, you don't have to be funny. Someone will give you a special.
Right.
And that's very frustrating when I know of myself and other actual local comics, even here in Tampa, who are talented and who have been doing this for years and years and years, and are not able to put out a special right now. So it's wild to me how the decision makers make their decisions. It's very
Right.
arbitrary. It has next to nothing to do with talent. It really
Well,
doesn't.
well, Michael, you are obviously a talent, and I
Oh, thank
know
you.
the world is going to see more of you. And I
I hope so,
appreciate.
man. I really, really hope so. Because I love doing it more than anything else in the world. And as much as I love my marketing clients, I would be happy to join John Hughes and George Benson and a lot of other comedians actually who started in marketing and were able to leave that behind. The day I get to do comedy full time is going to be one of the most beautiful days of my life. Truthfully, cannot wait.
I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you get to check out the movie, man. Let me know what
I,
you thought of it.
I'm totally am going to, and I'd love to have you back on when you're tough something else, or if you ever just want to hang again.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing: I have not done one of these in a while, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So seriously, thank you very much for having me on.
Dude, that's the highest honor because that's all I aim for.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. If I can make you laugh for 80, 60 to 90 minutes, I've done my job. The world's a better place. That's my goal. So
Awesome. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you.
you too. Thank you so much, man. Take care.